I grabbed orange duct tape and ribbon from Walmart and this Dollar Tree broom handle for a spring DIY. I took an orange cone from Amazon and cut off the bottom with scissors. Then I filled the top with hot glue and rested the broom handle in it until it was dry. I took floral foam and glued it to the bottom of a planter, also from Dollar Tree. I took the other end of the broom handle and pressed it into the floral foam. I was left with something that looks like this. Taking some wood dowels, I glued both ends to the inside of the cone and the inside of the planter. Then I took some duct tape and added it for reinforcement on the bottom. Once that was done, I took some long strips of the orange duct tape and applied them from the top all the way to the bottom. Lastly, I added some ribbon on the outside to add texture and conceal the lines from the tape. With the main body done, I flipped it over and added a potted plant that I'd wrapped in orange duct tape. I used a few more strips of tape to cover the gaps and make a smooth transition. A little more ribbon, and that's it! Some simple craft supplies are now a fun jumbo carrot that I can use to decorate my porch for spring.
We're going to begin by cutting one roll of mesh, and as you can see, I have 4 different options right here. So this is 10-inch mesh, and we're going to cut it using our cutting mat. So we're going to cut them again about 16 to 18 inches long. It doesn't have to be exact. We are going to be doing the ruffle technique, which I believe to be one of the best techniques out there and the easiest for beginners. So if you've never worked with mesh before, I'm going to make it really nice and easy for you all and show you guys how pretty and easy it really can be. Now we can begin working it into our frame. So what I like to do and what I recommend you do is open up all of these twist ties in advance. So just take them and separate them open. That way when it comes time to add your mesh, you're not sitting there fiddling with trying to open it and holding your mesh in hand. So it's a lot easier when you do this in advance. And all of the products we're using today, from the rotary cutter to the mesh to the frame to our adorable bunny butt, you can find from nicksseasonaldecor.com. So here's what your mesh should look like. Again, 16 to 18 inch pieces, 10 inches across. We're going to just simply lay it flat in our hand and pinch right in the middle, gathering towards us. And this is known as the ruffle technique. And as I mentioned earlier, I think it's extremely beginner friendly and I think it looks really, really nice. It's actually my favorite technique. So once you create a little bow tie or a ruffle in your hand, now that all of our frame is opened up, it's really easy to just place your mesh inside and then take those twist ties and secure it. We're going to add one piece to each and every twist. So oftentimes I get asked, where do I start? Where do I finish? And with this technique, since every twist tie is going to get a piece of mesh, it doesn't really matter as long as every twist has one in the end. So don't worry about, making sure that they're spaced evenly and perfect because the frame has done that for you. Just work in one piece in every twist. And look at how nice and full it already is after 3 pieces. So we're going to continue working in this mesh until we get one piece in every twist. And our last piece. And here's how the wreath is shaping up. I already think it looks beautiful as is, but now it's time to come back in with some ribbon. So here's the ribbon that I have chosen today. It's one of our black and white ribbons, and although it kind of blends in, I want this wreath to be really simple, but it's still going to be really beautiful. So first things first, we need to cut it. So I'm just going to place it on my cutting mat and roughly measure out 13 to 14 inches, snip it off. And once you do that, you can dovetail. So to dovetail, we're going to take our ribbon end, fold it in half, and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge at an angle and create that professional edge. So if you've never dovetailed, it really does take your designs to the next level. So I do recommend you do this to each and every tail. I have gone ahead and pre-cut and pre-dovetailed all of the ribbons. I don't think you guys needed to see each and every piece, but now it's time to work it into the wreath. So we're going to take each piece, fold it in half, pinch in the middle, and place them in the twist. So I already opened up a couple of twists to make it easier. I do find for the best effect, you to open up each and every twist before working in your ribbons. That way it creates kind of like a firework effect, having this ribbon wedged deep inside and then kind of spewing out. So again, open up the twist and work in one piece in every section. Now it's time to work in our bunny bottom, and here is what it looks like. It's got the little gingham paw prints, it's got the tail, the fuzzy texture, it's kind of like a teddy bear, and here it comes with 2 ears as well. So we have these in black and white and pink and white, and we're using the black and white to stay on theme today. So let's secure these. These do come with wires, so it's really easy to place them right on your mesh wreath. Now it's time to take these wires and secure them. So one really important thing I want to tell you is to always secure these to the metal frame. Although this bunny bottom is not heavy by any means, it will sag over time, and if you place this outside and it gets rained on, it's like a teddy bear. It'll absorb that water. So that is okay. It will dry, especially in the sun, but you still want to ensure that it doesn't add any weight to it and kind of sag. So always secure your wires directly to the metal frame. Here is our bunny ears, and one thing about these is that although this is printed and it matches really nicely, this is actually how the ears are supposed to be with the bottom. However, with that being said, since these are wired, we can just bend them to shape so you see a little bit of it. But in the past, we've definitely heard you guys loud and clear when it comes to making sure that the ears are facing the right way. We're just going to take these ears, poke those wires through, and make sure we do what we did last time, which is to secure them to the metal frame. And then we can bend it a little bit and do the same thing to the other ear, or the other ear we could actually just leave sitting straight up. Just depends on the look you're going for. You could even have this one sticking straight up. And here is how the adorable bunny wreath turned out. It was super easy and rather inexpensive.
So our first step is taking this white basket, taking it outside and spray painting it a soft brown so it looks a little bit more like a natural fiber basket. All right, so the basket is painted and everything is dry and it has a nice kind of natural brown color. So now we're going to embellish the sides. And to do that, I've got some burlap ribbon here. That's just the tan color with some beautiful like blue dots on it. So we're gonna pull off a nice long piece and I'm gonna stick it in behind and just weave in and out of the slats of the basket. And we're gonna pull this all the way around. And I can cut this off right about here. All right, so I've made it once around there, and now I'm just gonna do a couple more layers to cover the top and the bottom. But for this layer, I'm going to do it opposite of the way we did it down here. All right, so we've got the ribbon wrapped all the way around the basket, and there's some kind of loose ends. I'm just gonna grab a hot glue gun and just tack these down, attach them to the basket so that they stay in place. So our Easter basket is done on the bottom. Now every basket needs a handle. So we're gonna use a pool noodle. So what I'm gonna do is take this big yellow noodle and I'm gonna stick it in the top here. And I'm just gonna let it sit so I can kind of figure out where I want it. Now I'm gonna take a Sharpie and just draw where the noodle hits the basket. So just using a craft knife, I'm gonna cut half of this noodle. There we go. So we're left with the noodle kind of cut in half. So we have this flat part here. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So on the basket, when I set this noodle in it, it just sits really nicely right there. I'm going to use some zip ties to attach the noodle on the inside to one of these slats in the basket, but I'm gonna attach it to the slat that's covered by the ribbon so you don't see the zip tie. Okay, so we need to cover up this noodle. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You could paint it, you could wrap it in ribbon. You just wanna cover it all the way up. I have some scraps of fabric here that I've cut into long strips. It's just a really lightweight kind of linen fabric that fits the look of this basket. So I'm just gonna wrap the whole noodle in this. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of hot glue as we go to hold everything in place. The handle is done. We're all covered in this linen fabric. The last thing we're gonna add to this basket right up on top is a nice bow, again with another coordinating ribbon that matches with this polka dot here. So we're just gonna make a simple bow here. I'm gonna leave a tail on the end. And then just wrap my ribbon back and forth. And then we'll cut it off. So just a simple bow here. I'm just going to use a little floral wire to tie it together in the middle. And I'm just going to wrap a final piece of ribbon right around the middle using a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place. Now since this is a pool noodle, we can just stick this floral wire right into it to put our bow on top. So if you have enough eggs to fill this whole thing, go for it. I know that I don't. So I'm gonna use some things as filler in the bottom. I'm gonna put a box in there, some leftover packing paper. Then this fabric that was used to wrap the handle, I'm gonna fold that up and place it on top so you don't see all that packing paper. A whole bunch of little plastic eggs filled up with treats for Easter is gonna fill up this basket. This Easter basket is gonna be great for the holiday. It is filled with treats for the kids for an egg hunt.
Today's DIY, we are gonna head over to your local craft store and grab a giant egg. First, I took some chalk paint and I'm using a pale pink, and this one is an Annie Sloan chalk paint, but there are some great chalk paints like Rust-Oleum and other ones you can get at Home Depot. And you're gonna cover your entire egg and then you're gonna let it dry. Then we are going to grab some paints, some acrylic paints, and I'm gonna start with a blue and a terracotta color. And we're gonna start painting our terrazzo print. So we're gonna start with the first color, which is blue. And you see how I'm kind of smushing down my paintbrush? Kind of go down and smush, and you can make your entire shape with the shape of your paintbrush. And we're gonna do big ones and little ones, and we're gonna go all the way around the egg. And then when we get the blue color all the way around, we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna move on to the next color. So my next color is the terracotta color. We're gonna grab some of that, and we're gonna go around the egg the same way we did with the blue, but we're gonna layer some of it. We're gonna do some big ones and some little ones, and they're gonna kind of be some odd shapes. They don't have to be perfect because that's what makes it look more like a terrazzo print. And we're going to keep making these organic shapes with the terracotta color until we get enough on there that we like it. And we're going to let it dry. And then we're going to move on to the next color. And the next color is black. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go all the way around, layering the colors, some big ones, some small ones. Nothing is uniform. And we're going to do little dots around there and just keep going around until we get it the way we want it, all the way around the egg. And then let that dry, and then we're going to go to the next color. Next color is going to be gold. And if you're not familiar with what a terrazzo is, it's basically a flooring material that was made by exposing marble chips on the surface of concrete, and then they polish it to make it smooth. So it makes it have a speckled pattern. The pattern is really cool and all kinds of other things. And then we're gonna go on to our last color, which is yellow. And you just keep layering until you like it. And lastly, add a clear coat to protect your egg, and that's it. Look how awesome that turned out. It looks like it just fits into your home decor. And I added it with some other Easter egg DIYs that I did with some yarn. Another style idea would be to use it like a sculpture or a piece of artwork that you got and incorporate into your home decor, like the way I did at the front entrance of my house. And here's another idea where I put it on top of my fireplace on the mantle, and that elevated it and to make it a more festive for the holiday as well. So really, try it in all different places in your home and have fun.